There's a kind of intelligence that doesn't make any noise. Its real power isn't in what it says, it's in what it sees. Let's take a closer look at that. You see, this kind of intelligence is almost always misunderstood. It's this quiet presence, and it can be deeply unsettling in a world that's built on noise. And even though it doesn't want control, it's often feared, sometimes even more than the most obvious forms of manipulation.
So what are we really talking about here? What is this quiet but powerful form of awareness? It's not something you can measure on a test or hang on a wall in a frame.
It's called perceptual intelligence. It's the ability to see the invisible architecture of any situation, the real motives, the deep insecurities, all the unstated truths. You don't guess, you know, you sense it, and you're almost never wrong.
This is probably going to sound familiar. You walk into a room, and it's like an emotional data stream just flows right into you. You instantly get a feel for the landscape of the room. You see the person performing for everyone's approval. You notice the one who's quietly sizing everyone up. You feel that unspoken tension between two people across the room. It's like an immediate, intuitive download. And what's so fascinating is the reaction that this passive ability gets from other people. You're not doing anything, and yet it creates this profound discomfort in others.
Which brings us right to the heart of it all. Why is a quiet observer so often seen as more of a threat than an active manipulator? The answer tells us something really deep about human nature. Think about it. Manipulation is a game, and it has rules. It takes effort, it follows patterns you can predict, and if you know the game, well, you can play along, or you can defend yourself against it. But perception operates completely outside of the game. It's effortless. It sees the game for exactly what it is. And here's the key. It can't be controlled by the players. And this is the core of it, right here. Most people move through the world wearing these carefully built masks. It's not usually out of malice, but from this deep-seated fear of being judged, or rejected, or just misunderstood. A perceptive person's gaze makes that mask feel paper-thin, almost transparent.
So, that feeling of being exposed, it causes people to project their own discomfort onto you. They need a name for what they're feeling, so they just grab for the labels that are easiest to reach.
They might call you intimidating. They mistake your stillness for a show of power, when really, it's just a lack of social desperation. You don't need anything from them.
Or maybe they'll call you cold. That's because you don't get swept up in all the expected emotional drama. You're observing it instead of participating in it. Oh, and you'll definitely hear that you are too quiet. In a world that's so full of noise, your silence creates this kind of vacuum, and they just don't know how to fill it. It makes them aware of themselves. And finally, they'll just name the thing itself, as if it's a crime. They'll say you're too observant, as if seeing things clearly were some kind of transgression. But underneath all of those labels, what they're really saying is this: your presence is like a mirror, and they are not comfortable with the reflection they're seeing. It was never about you. It's about their own relationship with themselves. Now, of course, this intelligence is a gift. But let's be honest, it's a gift that often comes with a shadow. Seeing so much, well, it carries a certain weight. This is the part people don't really talk about. You feel that subtle shift in a room that tells you an argument is coming. You catch that tiny micro-expression that reveals a lie, and then you have to pretend you didn't. It's not paranoia. It's just that your mind is constantly scanning, decoding, and connecting dots that no one else sees. You absorb so much emotional information that it can feel like this low-grade static you can never, ever escape. And some days, you just wish you could find the off switch. But then, there's a point where the story has to change. A point where you stop seeing this trait as a burden, and you start to understand what it actually is. So let me be very clear about this. This awareness is not a flaw you have to fix. It's not a burden you need to apologize for. You're not too sensitive or overthinking. You are simply awake in a world where a lot of people are choosing to be asleep. I want you to start thinking of it like this. This perception is your advantage. It's how you navigate complexity. It is your protection from anyone who isn't being real. It is your internal compass. Always pointing you toward what is true. It's not just some trait you have, it's your power. And the moment you stop apologizing for your clarity, the moment you fully accept it as a core piece of who you are, that's the moment you take all your energy back. That's when your life really starts to line up with your own truth. So we come back to where we started. People have learned how to deal with manipulation. It's a dance they know, even if they don't like it. What they really fear is the one thing they can't control. Pure, simple clarity.
They're afraid of the person whose very presence shines a light on the truths they are working so hard to avoid inside themselves. And if you've understood everything we've talked about, then you already know exactly which person you are.